Sekiro has hands down one of the best combat systems that I ever had the pleasure of experiencing. The combat combines the level of challenge that we expect from Software, and an addicting combat flow that keeps egging you on to improve so that you can wreck the game on subsequent playthroughs. The combat feels like you are locked into a sword dance with your opponents. It kind of plays like a rhythm game without all the visual indicators. You go off the choreographed attacks of your opponents. How Sekiro differs from other games developed by FromSoft, however, is that the combat is designed solely around only one weapon, the Kusabi Maru. Whereas in the previous games, you had a great variety of choices with the weapons. It is for this reason that the Sekiro combat feels this polished. The developers were only required to design the game around only one singular playstyle. This frees the developers from the need to tweak bosses to feed multiple different builds. Some might think this is a negative, since Sekiro provides objectively fewer options to tackle gameplay situations. But I beg to differ. Why can't both types of games coexist? Not every game has to be a sandbox like Zelda. Some games can provide an amazing linear experience with the right game design choices. I see it as a refreshment when FromSoft experiments with new game direction, because I know that whatever the studio creates, it will be something of high quality. Each fight in Sekiro is an adrenaline rush. You really need to respect your opponent and study him carefully, otherwise you'll be punished. Optimal gameplay requires you to be attentive. Be aggressive, but only when the moment is opportune. Be on the defensive when the enemy attacks and look for punish windows. Jump over sweeping attacks and kick yourself off of your enemies for posture damage. Mikiri counter thrust attacks. You have to be constantly on your toes during fights, or else you lose. And remember, hesitation is defeat. Mastery of the combat system of Sekiro grants immense satisfaction. Parrying all incoming attacks successfully instills a feeling of triumph over your enemies. Although the difficulty curve is too steep at first, if you stick with it, you will experience a combat system like no other. Although Sekiro has only one weapon, it provides the player with a variety of tools to play around and experiment with. Much of the game's seemingly impossible challenges can be made easier with the right know-how with the tools that you are provided with. The axe can break shields, shurikens stun airborne enemies and help you close the gap between you and your enemies. Flame vents and firecrackers are good against enemies like the ogre, guardian ape, and the bulls. The spear tears off armor of armored enemies and is effective against immortal centipedes. Mist Raven allows you to dodge from above and counterattack. The umbrella provides protection from various attacks. The Sabimaru's poison is effective against the Okami warriors in the Fountainhead Palace. All this and more. I also want to mention combat arts. Although difficult to use effectively in most situations, it still has niche uses for players that explored every nook and cranny of the combat system, like using Sakura Dance to deflect lightning, or using High Monk to deal huge stun damage against sweeping attacks, and my personal favorite, Ichimonji Double, which is the combat art that I have used the most to inflict posture damage. Not to forget ninjutsu, the smoke ninjutsu that allows you to execute multiple enemies within a close vicinity utilizing stealth. The puppeteer, which makes enemies fall under your control temporarily. Lastly, the blood bestowal that covers your sword attacks in blood and increase their reach. There are still many other things that I haven't mentioned, but all the previous examples really demonstrate how fancy you can get with the combat system if you are skilled enough. It is rare to experience such a well thought out combat system. Although the journey to mastery is difficult, with enough patience, no challenge is insurmountable. It's really unfortunate that From Software never made any DLC for Sekiro. They built such a strong foundation, and it feels like a missed chance not to expand on it. The game's combat system is incredibly polished, and there's so much more they could have done with it. What's interesting is how Sekiro seems to have inspired other games to step up their combat mechanics. You can tell that the focus on timing, skill, and precision has made an impact on developers and gamers alike. It's not just about having options, but about mastering what's in front of you. I genuinely hope FromSoft is working on a sequel. There's still a lot of potential in Sekiro's combat system that hasn't been fully explored, whether it's adding new mechanics or just building on what's already there. A follow-up could really take it to the next level. For now though, all we can do is hope. Thank you so much for sticking with the video through to the end. At the moment, I am experimenting with various forms of content. I already uploaded 2 videos that are much longer than this one, just to get a feel for it and see what I enjoy making the most. Whether it is talking about a general topic regarding video games, or only focusing my attention on a single game at a time. Also, please do tell me in the comments which type of videos that you enjoyed watching the most. Your feedback is always appreciated. Once again, thank you for watching, take care, and goodbye.